To be honest, there are certain things that women. What do you secretly desire guys to do? Items. They will never publicly acknowledge because the way it sounds terrifies them. They desire some control, but not too much. They desire attention, but only from the appropriate people man. Additionally, perhaps the very items they claim to detest are the same things that make their hearts pound. I'm going to reveal 7 filthy facts about women hope in private that guys did depending on dark psychology of women. These have nothing to do with being impolite. They're around recognizing the innate qualities of women. The side she conceals beneath desire, feminism, civility, and phrases like, "I dislike that," remain till the very end. Thus, the core is revealed by number 7, instinct that governs the attraction of women above all else. However, before we get started, let me clarify something. There is no tampering here. This doesn't involve deceiving women or being fake. This is about comprehending the profound psychological trends that motivate human allure. Patterns that are present whether or not we recognize them. Well, in actuality, most guys experience life totally unaware of these concealed wishes. They hear what women have to say. Despite their desire, they disregard what women truly react to. Additionally, the gap between what is said and what is actually. Before the game even begins, guys lose. Thus, if you're prepared to comprehend the reality of women's attraction, if you're prepared to look past appearances and into the psychology of desire. So let's get started. First of all, she secretly desires that you take control with assurance rather than with force. Even the most self-reliant woman experiences an undeniable attraction to a man who he takes the initiative and understands what he wants. She claims to support equality, and she does, but she is emotionally attracted to domination of men. When you create choices, direct circumstances, or mentor her, you arise with confident calmness. There was something primordial about her. It has nothing to do with command, it has to do with safety. She desires people experience your confidence, since it allows she lets her feminine energies flow. Consider it this way. Each and every she makes hundreds of decisions every day. What to eat, how to dress, and how do I reply to that email? That challenging co-worker. She's always focused on addressing problems, continuously solving problems. Additionally, although she secretly doesn't, she is with you, wish to decide on something else. She desires to release the breath. She wishes to have faith that you are capable of navigating the situation with purpose and clarity. I know a great place, you say, rather than asking, where do you wish to leave? As you guide her through a throng while holding her back is tiny, so as you make the call during difficult times without hesitating, you're providing her with she has nowhere else to go. The liberty to simply exist. Here's the secret, though most males fail to notice this distinction. Being a leader isn't about giving commands or being regulating. It's about being so inwardly confident that she naturally wishes to take your lead. It's concerning establishing an environment that makes her feel secure, sufficient to give up her demand for control everything. When she senses that you can manage her world without requiring her, attraction occurs after validation, turns into an instinct. For this reason, the kind man who consistently requests approval, who defers all returning the choice to her, who looks for approval, he wears her out before acting, on an emotional level, not because he's compassionate, but since he's increasing her mental burden, rather than removing it. Indeed, you give her the gift of leadership, the ability to release her feminine essence as a gift, freely as she has faith in your masculinity guidance. Secondly, she wants you to make fun of her, not cruelly, but playfully. The majority of guys are either too kind or too chilly, but women in private yearn for a compromise, a man capable of just enough mental games to keep. She became enamored, When you make fun of her with assurance and a grin, you produce tension in the emotions. Well, that tension is addictive. She replays it because of it. At night, she has talks in her thoughts, since flirting is a sort of teasing that declares, I'm not intimidated by you. And that is incredibly alluring. Permit me to explain why this has such a profound effect. Level. When you make fun of women, you're essentially conveying several messages simultaneously. Initially, you're demonstrating that you feel confident enough to take on challenges, that you are not walking on her being cautious about her looks or her presence. Secondly, you're producing emotional peaks, brief instances of surprises that defy expectations pattern that most males adhere to. Thirdly, you're acting in a social intellect, the capacity to comprehend the space, to recognize limits, and to dance directly on that precipice without traversing it. Men are attractive to women. Who is capable at verbal combat? Why? Because it demonstrates mental fortitude. It demonstrates that you're not easily distracted. Equilibrium. It demonstrates your personality. It is uncontrollable and intimidating. Consider how these differ from one another. Two reactions are when she states that she's being late. Answer A. Oh, that's all right. Absolutely no worries. Go slowly. Let me guess at response B. You altered 3 different outfits and you're still not pleased with it. The initial reaction is secure. It's pleasant, yet it produces nothing emotional impact. The second answer, it playfully taunts her. It displays you comprehend her, which brings a grin to her face. Perhaps even chuckle as she fumbles, to prepare. That brief instance of playful tension simply made her feel something. And experiencing something, even whether it's light-hearted or a fake offense irritation, is far superior than feeling nothing. However, this is crucial. Limit. There must be a source for teasing, of kindness rather than cruelty. There's a significant distinction between fun teasing and disparaging remarks. Actual teasing declares, I like you, I see you, and I feel at ease enough to make jokes with you. Cruel mocking states, I want to harm you. Feel strong. Women are able to discern the difference right away. One gives her a sense of alive. She feels threatened by the other. Keep in mind that effective teasing creates chemistry more quickly than ever before. Wilson's praises let her know what she is aware of that already, but taunting teasing demonstrates your identity to her. 3. She desires to pursue you despite her refusal to acknowledge it. This is a fact about psychology. Women value their income more than when a man is also given accessible, overly eager, or too. She loses interest because it's predictable, because to her cruelty, but because the brain quits generating the excitement of pursuit. Women who claim to desire when a man gives them everything, they receive. When they finally get him, they are bored. She is looking for a man who is there but not clingy, a man she needs to win over emotionally since she pursues her. As desire grows, let me explain the psychology behind this, as it goes deeper than most people are aware. Human creatures, every human being is programmed to recede from and pursue what retreats, what seeks. This isn't gender, particular, it's not manipulation. Fundamentals of human psychology that have been recorded for centuries. When something is readily acquired, our minds assign reduced value. When something needs effort, financial commitment, and uncertainty, our it causes brains to become fixated on it. Why does the guy respond to SMS right away? Constantly, who's always free, she abandons everything as soon as he eliminates attraction when he reaches out. Because he is flawed in some way. As an individual, but due to his removal, all mystery, all difficulty, and every perception of needing to gain his interest. In the meantime, the man with his own life, his own goal, his own timetable, the man who takes hours at times to reply because he is actually occupied and produces natural scarcity, which in turn sets off the chasing reaction in her mind. Well, she begins to give him more thought, begins making more contact, begins attempting to win by figuring him out, his consent to get his interest. This is the lovely paradox. The less she thinks she has you, the more she has to work harder for you if she wants you. Your focus and time, the more so valuable that time and focus become to her. However, once more, there's a crucial distinction here. This has nothing to do with engaging in gaming or purposefully. This is about actually getting a cold life that is important to you. A purpose, objectives, interests, and items that really request your time and energy. When you have little of it because you're working on something meaningful, which is appealing because you're following your rare. Typical tactics used by pickup artists when genuinely doing nothing but sitting at home, she will recognize the falsity and it will resist her. Ignoring her is not the secret. She needs to earn your respect. Her desire for attention is what drives her. It's because a woman must pursue. She makes emotional investments, and the more she invests, the more she cherishes what she is chasing. For this reason, the partnerships in which women pursue first frequently turn out to be the ones where they are more committed in the long run because they have to put in effort to earn it. It is quite valuable, and they will now. For she wants you to fight to keep it, possess a dark aspect that is sufficiently perceptible risky. Contrast appeals to women. They are looking for a good man who can also be cold when necessary. The guardian who can be dreaded by others as well. The gentleman with a risky twist. It's psychology. Strength is shown by a man's dark side. Uncertainty as well as control. Attributes that her subconscious associates with domination and defense. You won't hear this from her, but when you give hints of the enigma, when you demonstrate your potential for harm, but you decide not to be, at which point she feels both secure and curious. Let's discuss regarding the reasons why this is among the most characteristics of attraction that are misinterpreted. When women express a desire for a kind man, they are somewhat speaking the truth of it. They seek a man who shows them consideration, who is courteous and kind, but additionally, they seek a man with the ability to perceive danger, darkness, and controlled violence. He simply makes the decision not to aim it at her. This relates to evolutionary psychology. For thousands of years, women had to choose partners capable of safeguarding them and their children from dangers. A man who was only soft, only nice, and only mild. Unable to keep anyone safe when danger came, but a man with power, who could be aggressive when essential, who possessed a regulated darkness he could protect her inside of himself. These days, this corresponds to a very particular kind of attraction. Women desire a guy who appears to the world to be a wolf, yet a lamb to her. They want you to take care of disagreement with other males without support down. They want you to be resolute, limits when someone treats you disrespectfully. They want to feel that beneath your serenity outside, there's something strong, anything that might be let loose if required, but this is what it's not the darkness that makes it appealing. Itself. You have authority over it. Aggression can come from any man, but a man who can choose to exercise restraint and be dangerous. That's mastery. A man capable of control but decides to treat her gently, that's power, which is why women are attracted to rehabilitated bad boys, to guys with difficult past who discovered tranquility, to men who have intensity in their gaze, but compassion in their behavior. It's the difference that's drunk. She feels secure because you treat her with kindness, but she also feels thrilled since she is aware of more to you. A deeper, more profound, darker, something that is exclusive to her glimpses of. Darkness isn't about aggression, depth is key. Additionally, the she gets stronger the deeper you go. Captivates her. Prove to her that you have layers and let her know you're not monolithic. Prove to her that you include both light and dark multitudes, power and kindness, peril and safety. That intricacy is alluring. 5. She wants you to ignore her, I guess. It sounds twisted, doesn't it? Just a little. However, if you provide her with consistent, she feels suffocated by attention. Yet when you don't text, you retreat. Initially, when you appear preoccupied with your own life, her thoughts begin to ponder while, and she begins to wonder, what's he? What are you doing? With whom is he? Why hasn't he made contact? That mystery sets off emotional strain, and strain leads to appeal. It's not a game. Games, balance is key. You're demonstrating that your life is not centered upon surrounding her, and that's what makes her wish to participate in it. Now, prior to if someone misinterprets this, inform me. To be clear, this isn't about acting or purposefully being cold, manipulative games that require calculations. How long should I wait before reacting to appear cool? This is regarding true autonomy. When you have a life you truly look forward to, interests, objectives, relationships, and purpose. Naturally, you won't be attached to your phone, anticipating her messages. You'll answer when you're free, not the as soon as she makes contact. You'll have nights when you're occupied with your own activities. There will be days when she doesn't hear from you since you're deeply involved in a worthwhile endeavor. Ironically, that natural being unavailable increases your chances of more alluring than ever forced availability could. Here's why it does. In terms of psychology, attention is a type of value. When you focus freely, continuously, and without any restrictions, in essence, you are expressing that you don't need to pay attention, but when it's necessary, your concentration is limited. Be earned. When it's obviously going towards significant things, it becomes into valuable. Additionally, individuals, particularly women, yearn for what they consider valuable. Consider it from her point of view. If you're available at all times, she believes he has nothing without realizing it. Better than waiting for me. However, if she believes that you are occasionally unavailable, I wonder if he has a meaningful existence, what he's doing. That change in everything is altered by perspective. She goes from thinking she has you figured out from feeling to wondering about you, confident in your unwavering focus on feeling a little unsure. Uncertainty breeds emotions investment. When you're a little, she makes erratic emotional investments, due of her ego's need to regain your concentration. Slightly is the essential word there. You can't be missing for weeks or be utterly contradictory. That's not appealing. However, that is simply untrustworthy. Having a wealthy and fulfilling life that occasionally takes precedence over continuous communication, that's really appealing since it displays you're a man with choices and a mission, with a fulfilling existence, and today she desires to merit her position in that existence. 6. She requests that you refuse her. Most men believe that accepting everything will make her happy. In reality, a woman admires a man who establishes limits. You politely and calmly tell her no. You demonstrate to her your lack of control by her consent. It's among the most sinister realities of female psychology. A man who's saying no and being able to leave when necessary is not a sign of cruelty. Rather, it makes you strong since it demonstrates you're not in need, but emotionally independent. Seek her approval. Allow me to clarify why this may be the most crucial element of all. The majority of males start dating as they are people who seek approval and want to be liked, to be selected and accepted, and that desire has nothing wrong with it. Humans have this urge, however, when it turns into when you're desperate, you'll stop at nothing to steer clear of disagreement or criticism when you give up your personal boundaries in order to simply make her happy and you cease being. Considering that women aren't really drawn to guys, they can. They are drawn to males they can control, cannot. When you refuse something that doesn't work for you, when you're persistent on your principles, despite the hazards letting her down when you put your personal requirements and limits, without sorry, you're making a demonstration. Most important, self-respect. Additionally, self-respect is the cornerstone of all attraction. This might be tested by a woman. She might test limits to discover if you'll keep them. She may request something irrational to observe if you possess the courage to decline. She may make a scene to see if you'll give in. Pressure. Additionally, when you don't stay composed, rooted, and resolute in your no, she is incredibly respectful of you. Since you've just demonstrated that you're not altered, you've demonstrated that your frame is stronger than hers, you've demonstrated that you will enforce your standards. For this reason, kind men who never say no, who go above and above to appease, who give up everything for a woman, they seldom ever get the girl's approval. They don't keep her when they do get her admiration. Since a woman is unable to show respect to a man who doesn't show it, self-control enough to set limits. When you maintain your position, you become more appealing, as she's attracted to your body and backbone, so begin refusing when it's suitable. No, I won't postpone my plans. To make last-minute accommodations for you, I won't put up with being spoken to. That manner. No, I'm not ready to perform. Observe what transpires. Weigh her admiration increases. Observe how the dynamic changes, because the one who can, the man she will work for, will walk away. 7. Well, she's secretly hoping to feel emotionally rather than physically owned. This is the section that most men never. You see, women don't want to be in charge over everything. They desire to give up to someone deserving of their confidence. She is looking for a partner that makes her feel asserted, not by coercion, but by presence. When you take a confident lead, preserve her vitality, and give her a sense of, as if she were your own, you're giving her the. She longs for emotional intensity, but this is where attraction comes in. Turns becomes adoration because profound. She desires a man who can possess her heart on an emotional level, not by supremacy, but by depth. This last point is possibly the most contentious, however, it is also the most potent. In an age at which self-reliance is valued, and sometimes vulnerability is perceived as frailty, which women continue to yearn for of being someone's property. Not in a dominating and domineering manner, but in a deep, instinctive, emotional manner. She desires to feel as though you own her. Claimed her heart to such an extent that the considering somebody else doesn't even register, as though you're her type and she is your soulmate, and that connection is indestructible. This transcends appeal. Connection is the key here. When you let her know you're aware of her, genuinely see her behind all the disguises and shields. When you comprehend her anxieties and embrace her darkness as well. Light, when you produce such sentimental safety that she can fully vulnerable with you, at which point she surrendered, not because you insisted on it, but because you deserve it. This type of the source of emotional ownership is consistency. From arriving when it's difficult, from defending her heart as fiercely as you would defend her body, from giving her a sense of security in your dedication that she is never required to inquire as to her position. And when a woman feels that a man owns her emotionally, she appreciates and believes in her loyalty, becomes unbreakable as a result of your giving something uncommon, the ability to completely give over her heart, understanding that it's in hands that will treasure it. She believes she might become lost in your presence, even if she's already yours. Never does she speak it out. Now, you women, be aware of the 7 nasty things. Hope in private if men did. Clean in the physically but psychologically sensation, which evokes feelings, power. Women will never say these things. Things are loud since they're unwilling to be assessed. However, if you become literate, you'll notice between the lines that everything they say they detest is frequently precisely what draws them in. Comprehending these concepts isn't about deceit, recognizing the essence of human nature deepest level. When you take the lead confidently, when you set bounds, when you uphold your independence while simultaneously fostering profound emotional bond, you're not having fun. games. You're just acting in the manner of a man that women are drawn to, in the direction of a man who comprehends that attraction defies rationality, that politically desire isn't acceptable, that regardless, the heart wants what it wants, of what society believes it ought to desire. Thus, put these ideas into practice with honesty. Make use of them to construct sincere relationships, not for the sake of manipulation or command. Recognize that actual authority in partnerships stems from being genuine, stable, and unwavering in who you are. If this was enjoyable to you, dissection of the psychology of dark women, please remember to turn, like, and subscribe on the bell icon to ensure you don't overlook these weekly truths. And don't stop here, by the way. View the more videos on this channel for additional psychological mysteries, strategies for emotional regulation, and mastery of attraction. Because after you recognize the hidden aspects of women desire, you won't ever consider women as in the same manner once more. More significantly, your perception of yourself will never be the same. You'll recognize your own strength, your self-worth, and how to present oneself as the man. Though uncommon, women secretly fantasize about find. Until the next time, remain resilient, genuine, and never forget the best. It's the version of you that ladies can't refuse.